Right. Okay. First of all, we need to go in and we need to go to the project settings. The first thing we need to do is to go to the project settings. And we need to set the inputs. Input. There it is. And when you open this up, by default you'll find things like jump and reset VR and all of the move are all set by default. What I have done is I have added spawn on the left mouse button, and I won't go and remove that, otherwise the blueprint will complain, but I can show you how to add another one. So if I add an action mapping, so actions are things like key presses and axes are things like joystick positions. And I can call this action whatever I like, so I'm going to call this spawn 2. And I can add anything I want to it, so I can add multiple. I don't want to actually add multiple, I just want the one. And in this case, I'm going to go for a right. No, right. Right mouse. Right mouse button. So that's how I can set up another input for the character. And I'm just going to close that. The next thing I need to do is I need to find the third person character blueprint, which is tucked away because if you mess with this, you can break the game, so be warned. But there it is, there's my third person character blueprint. And if I open this up, here is the blueprint for this character. So he's got some default actions, which is things like the gamepad input and the movement input, and how he jumps and how he measures the mouse input and the touch input. And right at the bottom I have my input, and then I am spawning a actor, and then I'm getting the position of the arrow, finding its transform and taking this into the transform. So let's do this for the right button as well. So what I'm going to do is I need to add an event to begin with, which is input, and I have my input spawn 2. And I can also get my arrow. If you go to the viewport, I can make another arrow. Let's go and add a component. We call it arrow. I'm going to call this arrow 2. No, I want an arrow, and then I'm going to call it arrow 2. So I want an arrow. Oh, it's already called it arrow 2. That's very nice. Thank you. Going to make it blue. And I'm going to move it over here somewhere. And I'm going to compile that. I'm just going to test by playing. It's not visible. Need to go back, make it visible. Viewport. This object needs to be not hidden in the game. Okay, I now have another arrow. So I need to spawn something. And at the moment I have something called a blueprint class called a P-cube. Let's make a sphere instead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to drag my sphere in. I'm going to convert this into a blueprint, and I'm going to save it in my level design, and I'm going to call it spawn sphere. want this to be physics. So this is my spawn sphere, yes. And this is my physics. And I'm going to compile that. And again, I don't need one in the level because I'm going to spawn them. So I'm going to go back to my blueprint. And when I press the right button, I'm going to spawn actor from class. And I'm going to select my class, and I believe I called it sphere. Spawn sphere. There he is. And then I need to figure out where I want to spawn this. So in this case it's on my arrow 2. So I'm going to drag and drop my arrow 2. I'm going to pull off of this, and I'm going to get the transform, because transforms are where objects are. And transform. Get world transform. And I will plug that into that location. And I will compile this. And I will play. And I will right click. And I have a ball. What joyous fun!